Sehr schön. Okay, gut. Ja, ich bin Administrator. Ich kann es. Okay, gut, sehr fein. Wir können anheben und beschass andere kommen, sie werden nun kommen euch auf unser Schmuss. Gut, was macht ihr heint? Efter Jochenen, was machst du heint?
Heint, ich bin gegangen in Mark, Speisemarkt, Grocery Store, Speisemarkt.
Ja, beim Mark, beim Grocery Mark.
Groceries Markt,
ja.
Ja. Für Warmes, ich habe gekauft Salmon Fish zu backen mit Lemon und Dill für Warmes. Und ich habe als mein Vibe that sein what's the word for satisfied? I'm sorry. I shall be satisfied with that.
Good. Satisfied is an interesting term in Yiddish. We'll talk about it. Good. Sehr fine.
Und das ist mein Tag heint so far.
Gut. Sehr schön. Sehr gut. Und Gito, was machst du?
Let's see. Alles is good. Ich habe gehabt eine gute Woche. Der andere Tag aber gehört von einem Redner, geredet wegen DNA. Und alles, was machst von DNA, ist sehr, sehr interessant. The DNA was help Menschen werden vom krank Menschen und alles vom, es gewesen schein, das gewesen in unserer Building, du, es gewesen als Speaker. In Hand bin ich gegangen mit Freund zu Francesca, sagt man, French, Franzoyzish, French,
Like
Franzoyzish,
Frankish.
Wir sind gegangen zum französischen Restaurant.
Französischen Restaurant. Es gibt sehr Geschmack und ich bin heimgekommen und jetzt bin ich du. Jetzt bin ich du.
Sehr schön.
So.
Gut, sehr schön. Ich schreibe noch ein paar Wörter.
So.
Ja, gut, sehr fein. Und euch Freund, wir können reden wegen dem. Gut.
Wie sagt man Franzosen?
Wir werden gut, ich habe geschrieben und koidem, ich habe noch gesucht. Wie soll mir wird gesagt? Noch suchen? Was heißt noch suchen?
Noch suchen?
I just said, ich habe noch gesucht. Was heißt das?
Oh, hast gesucht noch einmal? Noch gesucht? No, suchen zweimal? Nein.
Aber was heißt suchen?
Oh, suchen ist to search?
Ja, gut. Suchen heißt to search. Noch suchen heißt?
Noch suchen, search after?
Yeah, good. Yeah, to search after something. To search after or to look up.
To look
something.
up. Oh, search out, to look up. Oh, to look up.
Noch suchen. So when I say, good, yeah. So when I say ich habe noch gesucht etwas, that means I looked something up. Yeah, ich habe noch gesucht etwas. Gut, ich habe noch gesucht das Wort für groceries, weil ich habe gewollt wissen, weil ich darf müde sein, means I have to admit, ich wollte das gesagt, if I would say that, wollte ich gesagt grocery mark, was ist actually nicht das Wort. The dictionary says it technically is die Speisekrom. Die
Speisekrom, nicht Speismarkt, Speisekrom.
Speis.
That's a grocery store?
It's a grocery store. Und was ist a Krom?
A crumb is a store.
Gut, ja.
Business.
Ja. Und noch eine Frage, was ist der Plural von Krom?
Speisekronen?
Nein, es ist nicht Krommen.
Is crumb a plural? Is crumb a plural?
Nein.
Is crumb singular and plural? No.
Nein.
No? Okay.
It has a plural form. It's a little weird. Nein, es ist nicht. Mark, weißt du?
Nein.
Nein. Es ist die Krämer. Die
Cramer.
Krämer.
Cramer.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, was
Can
Genele?
you hear me? Because I don't know, my connection is shaky, so it's kicked me out a couple of times. It's good.
Okay, gut. Ja, wir können dich hören nicht. Ja, sehr schön. Gut.
Cramer.
Aber ist weg.
Cramer.
Ui. Gut. Genele, es kann sein. Oh, Genele.
Ja.
Mich hören? Springt ein und springt raus. Okay. Genele, can you hear me?
He's frozen.
Okay,
The
he's
voice
supposed to
is-
like to do it, not just me.
Comb. Okay.
Oh, I'm frozen or I don't know.
Here, one second. I'm gonna write to him.
No, now I can hear.
Okay, good. You can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay,
So
good.
my face was frozen, because everything was like a shaky on my side.
Okay, good. So I hope it's better. It might also be my fault because my connection might not be the best. So, good. Okay, so who's that mir given? Okay, die Krom. Ja, der Pluralform von Krom is Krämer. Krämer, so die Speisekrämer, die Bücherkrämer. Was soll es sein? Gut. Das Wort für French, ob etwas ist French, it's Franzosen. Nein, nicht Frankisch. Aber wir reden wegen dem. Ja.
Frankreich.
Frankish ist ein interessanter Gedanke, aber sagt man gewöhnlich Frankisch. Aber ja, say French, man sagt Franzoyzish oder
Franzoyzish.
Franzoyzish. Yeah, so it's a s sound and then a z sound. So Franzoyzish.
Franzoyzish.
Yeah, Franzoyzish. Yeah. So it's like
That broke up.
Wie
with you.
sagt man French? Just wie sagt man France? Am Geiz
Frankreich.
is it Frankreich?
Yeah, Frankreich.
Frankreich is French.
Frankreich.
das ist Frankreich. Ja, es kann sein, dass meine Verbindung ist ein bisschen schwach. Ja.
Franzoyzish is French.
Eine Sekunde.
Franzoy. So, ich bin gegangen zur französisches Restaurant und es ist gewesen sehr Geschmack.
Mhm.
Hm.
We understood what you meant.
No, I haven't been part of the conversation, so I don't know.
Was,
I want to apologize, but my reception was breaking up when we were going over the adjective.
mhm,
Frankreich is the Medina, the state, and then what was in Frankish is nicht adjectives is
Name. Yeah, so you didn't break up, Jochen, and I just hadn't answered yet. You know, I'd written it in the chat so we could come back to it. And Gito, I did hear what you said. So that's good. So if you want to say, I heard everything. I just had to move to a different part of my apartment.
Okay.
So you guys. hear and see
Uh-oh.
me better.
Good thing we
So-
didn't talk about you.
Yeah, no. I'll say this. So the word is frantsoyzish. So it's a ts sound followed by a z sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
Franzoyzish.
There you go. Frantsoyzish. Perfect.
And
And that is
go ahead.
yeah. So that is the adjective for French. Yeah. And I also have to mention that there is another variant, and I'm only writing this in transliteration, so pronunciation is helped here. There's another variant, which is frantseyzish. Frantseyzish. Does anyone know who would usually say frantseyzish versus who would usually say frantsoyzish? Name? So Ton, Gito, can you remind me where your family's from?
My family is from Poland. There's my mother is from Galiciana, and the tata is not from Galiciana, is from Parchev, and Parchev is by Lublin, Parchev.
Oh.
Okay, good. So nicht in dein Mishpoche. Das heißt es, dein Mishpoche, Gito, wird nicht gesagt Französisch. They would probably say Franzosen, or even if your father's from the Lublin area, he would probably even say something like frantsoyzish or something. Frantseyzish is what the Litvaks would say. The Litvak is Frantseyzish, but because of the proximity of standard Yiddish.
Yeah, Franzosen, I would think it's a more
Franzoyzish.
No, einmal, Genele?
saying it in Yiddish, and I believe it just you. We would say Franzosen. Can you hear me?
Nein, Genele, you cut out. Can you say it again?
Okay, this is what I'm saying, because you're saying Franz mimicking the Russian word, which is, and I would think that
Good.
would
Yeah,
be
I mean,
spread by the
Genele.
Jews who used to former Soviet Union, where we would probably Russify this word more, for that matter, in Yiddish. I don't know. I'm still shaky.
Nein, I'm so sorry, Genele. I wasn't able to hear what you were saying. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
forget it then. That's not.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're welcome to email me, and I'm happy to answer too. But yeah, just to finish this conversation, because there's a lot of flying parts, so I don't want to get too distracted. So, starting again with this word frantsoyzish, frantseyzish. So this is the adjective for French. So a French restaurant is a frantsoyzischer restaurant, or a frantseyzischer restaurant. I will say that because of the proximity of standard Yiddish to Litvish Yiddish, many people in standard Yiddish will still pronounce it as frantseyzish, so just keep that in mind. The same thing happens with words like this, gloiben and gleiben.
Oh, Gleiben.
Both mean to believe. But you'll hear, even outside of Litvish Yiddish, you'll hear gleiben very commonly nowadays in contemporary Yiddish. So just things to mark that anytime you Gito?
No, ich habe euch gehört, Gleiben. Ich gleib. Is this?
Yeah, that exists. That exists, and that's because what happened in the case of Gleibman, what happened was Gläuben, the original older word, was turned into Litvish Gleiben, which Polish Jews interpret as Gleiben. In the same way that Litvish Jews say Maine, or they say things like Litvish Jews will say something like Azay versus Azoy. So Litvish, right? So like the very famous writer from Lithuania, what is it, Jewish Lithuania, Moyshe Kulbak, his name was actually pronounced Meyshe Kulbak, because the Litvaks would say May, A, instead of the Oi sound. And then Polish Jews, upon hearing or encountering that A sound in Polish Yiddish, they pronounce it as I. So in many cases, things like Gleiben, which get Litvishicized, then become policized as gleiben. So you can have kind of a trajectory there. But anyway, the point is, anytime you see a variation between oi and a, it's likely an influence from Litvish Yiddish. And that's what's happening in Frantsoyzish versus frantseyzish. And then, so yeah, if you wanted to say a French restaurant, you would use Frantsoyzish or frantseyzish just like an adjective. The word for France itself is Frankreich. Frankreich. Yeah, and this is a very, very old word for France. Yeah, this comes from influence from German. Yeah, so Frankreich. The word France itself just coming from the old word for Frank, right? The Franks of Europe. However, Yochanan brought up a word, Frankish, which actually in standard Yiddish would probably be pronounced as Frankish. This refers to the Franks, as in the older, much older population that now, what we now call France. If something is Frankish or Frankish, it's Frankish in the medieval sense, or even older, not even medieval. We're talking early Middle Ages kind of sense, right? However, I will say that Yiddish speakers very commonly, if something is outdated, awkward, doesn't it doesn't work for the kind of thing it's trying to fit in, they'll call it alt Frankish. Alt Frankish. This is a really common idiom or just phrase in Yiddish, alt Frankish. If something is outdated or out of custom, it's alt Frankish. It's old Frankish. So it's like it came out of the Middle Ages. It's alt Frankish. Yeah. Okay.
I have a question, when you're changing a noun like to an adjective like that, French, France to French restaurant, it's an adjective. Is that how you put the ish at the end? Is that, zish?
Yeah.
The zish at the
So ish is a common ending for many adjectives, right? So like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Something like, you can really add ish to anything to turn it into an adjective, right? But in the case of France and French, the etymologies of Frankreich and Franzosen come from two different parts. Yeah. So what's happening is it's actually an influence from German here, where German calls France Frankreich, and then they refer to the French as the Franzosen, as the Franzosen. Yeah. Same thing in Yiddish, where the country is called Frankreich, yeah, and then the people are called Franzosen, which then, you're right, Gittel, gets that ish ending to make French. So it becomes Fransoy. Oh, spelled that wrong. Frantseyzish. It's the second one. Frantseyzish.
We can sagen einfach Russisch from Russia.
Russisch. Yeah, Russisch. Yeah, which is derived Russland. Good.
From Russland.
Russisch. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Dieselbe Sache. Good. Sehr fine. Yeah, I think. Hold on, let me scroll back up. Ich meine es. Gut. Ja, das ist alles, was ich habe gehört. Noch suchen. Euch gesagt. Auf Jiddisch, friend hat ein I-Klang. Es hat ein I-Klang. Ja, das heißt, es ist, ich bin gegangen mit der Freund. Ja, es ist nicht der Freund, das ist für Deutsch, es ist ein Freund.
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 A Freund?
A Freund.
A Freund. Not a
A
Freund.
Freund. Yeah.
A Freund.
A Freund. Yeah. And it's okay. It's not, it's not wrong if you say Freund, but that is a German word, right? So the Yiddish word is Freund. Freund.
Der Freund. Okay.
Gut. Sehr schön. Okay, gut. Sehr schön. Ich hab gehört von Joachim, ich hab gehört von Gitlen. Mark, was machst du?
Mir ist gut. Ich bin vernehmen. Mein Verb ist jetzt in Texas. nicht kein Vakatie. Sie ist dort für Arbeit. Nächten ist sie dort gefahren sie wird morgen zurückkommen. Und ich hoffe, als der Schnee wird sein nicht so schlecht.
Ja. Ich euch.
Es schneit in Texas. Es
Nein, du.
Oh, du. Ja, oh, okay.
Da in Chicago, sie wird
Sie darf heimkommen, Hans. Sie kommt daheim. No.
Das ist eine Frage von dir, Mark. Kommt die für morgen oder heint heim?
Morgen.
Oh,
Morgen.
Morgen es geht schneien. Ja.
Ja. Ich vor euch morgen und ich hoffe, es wird nicht spannend so schwer.
Der Geist Israel, der Geist morgen
Jordan. Ich vor kein Jordan morgen. Das heißt es, ja, ich hoffe, der Schnee wird nicht sein schwerer. Wir werden sehen, was geschieht.
Oh.
Gut. Gut, sehr fein. Genele, kennst du uns hören?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Ja, aber es kommt von zwei Marschieren. So it's coming from two places. Ich meine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know,
Because one of them is one is iPad, another one is a phone, and the third one is a computer. iPad, another one is a phone.
Yeah, it might be good to mute the other two that you're not going to use.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Hold on. Now it's good?
Hold on. I need something.
Okay. I don't know. I still can hear myself. It's echoing. Oh,
It's okay. I can mute you if you'd like. I can just mute the ones you're not talking through. Is that easiest?
okay. Let's see which one.
Let's see which one because
Could you turn the light on? Yeah. Now it's good?
I think so. There's no echo for you guys, right?
No. Yeah, we can hear you. Oh, I can hear echo. So I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good now.
Okay, great, good.
So it's a triple connection.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Proved 3 times.
Ja, nu, a bisa Arbeit. A bisa Arbeit, wir sind in Ordnung. Gut, Genele, was machst du?
Oh, was noch? So okay. Let me start. Phew, I'm thinking. Okay. Ich will zu reden wegen mein Serienbobbe.
Okay.
Meine Serienbobbe sind gewesen die meine Serie gewesen die erste Krudim, was haben geredet Yiddish mit mir.
Mhm.
Mein Bobby gerufen mir vor Mittag. Sie wollen sagen, setz dich doch auf den Bänkel vor Essen. Oder setz dich doch auf den Bänkel vor Mittag.
Mhm.
Serie, kommt da. Mein Serie haben gehabt eigene Brocha von Essen.
Good. Genele, 1 Sekunde. Unfortunately, since I'm wearing two caps today because Carrie's at the dentist, I need to help Lily get on the Zoom.
Okay.
So just give me 1 moment. I'm so sorry. I hate to interrupt class, but if you'd like, please keep. Actually, I would encourage everyone to keep speaking in Yiddish and just have a conversation.
No
and I'll be
problem.
okay. I'll be right back. I just need to help Lily. So sorry.
Genele, dein microphone is nicht on.
The microphone. Oh no, I know, but you can still hear.
Okay.
I got too many.
Das ist besser.
Too many connections.
Ich can hear.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll wait till Eyshe come back. I don't want to talk because I am trying to talk in Yiddish. It's pretty hard for me to do, and if I'll say everything, I could forget it. It would be hard for me to reproduce what I just said. Sorry.
Okay. Mark, was maakt dein Sohn? Is gewend krank met gebroken Fuß. Ja?
Wer?
Dein Sohn.
Your Sohn.
Oh,
No.
Was
is gesund?
Besser.
Besser. Vorige
Ja.
Das ist gut.
Besser ist geht. So, Jay, was machst du?
Ich habe gegangen kein Krummmark, Speiskrumm. Und ich habe kaufen Salmon für warmes zu backen, für mir zu backen, für warmes. Und ich habe aus mein Weib that enjoy it, you know.
I don't know. I'm getting disconnected all the time.
Yeah, you went out.
Yeah, I go. Oh, gee. No way. Okay, can you hear me? Can you?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because on the one side, it's actually maybe I'll go and completely disconnect from the computer. So yeah, I think.
Ich kann sehen dich, ich kann hören dich. Alles ist gut.
Alles.
Okay, gut. Lily, bist du mit uns? Nein, sie hat gedacht zurückkommen. Lass mich sehen. Sei mir Moichel, was ich habe gedacht.
Kannst du hear me?
Ja, wir können dich hören. Wir können dich hören.
I
Lily,
disconnected all the stuff. Just one thing is.
Und wo ist Lily?
Lily, bist mit uns?
Wo ist sie?
Ich weiß nicht. Good. Yo, Carrie had texted me in the middle of class asking me to help Lily get on.
Ja.
Und ich meine es, was ist in Ordnung, aber ich hoffe, sie wird können kommen. Lily, can you hear us?
Lily, bist du hier? Was magst du?
She's not with computer savvy as I am.
Alles in Ordnung. Ich meine es, ja, hoffentlich wird sie kennen.
Okay.
Ja, gut. Ich weiß nicht, was zu tun. Efter kann ich. I don't want to pause class more.
So let's.
Good. Okay, good. I will hope that she comes on. If she texts me, I'll see what I can do. But I don't think I should keep class waiting. I'm sorry, guys. Carrie just. Oh, good.
Baruch haba.
Bist mit uns? Oh, dein Mikrofon, wir können dich nicht hören, leider.
Oh,
Okay.
zerbrochen.
Yo, good. So, Lily, it looks like we can't hear you, but I'm glad you're here. And you're welcome to write in the chat too. I'm not sure what might be going on.
Forgive the English, but maybe she didn't join with audio.
Yeah, because it's actually asking. It's asking
Yeah.
because something wrong with the connection, and it's asking to do you want to join with audio, and it give you like Wi-Fi, dial-up, and so on. So basically,
Yo.
and you probably skipping the stuff.
Okay, gut. Sie sagt euch, wie sie verbindet sich. Okay, gut. Lily, bist mit uns?
Ich bin da.
Gut. Sehr schön.
Hey,
Okay.
Wir hören dich.
Okay, gut.
Thank you.
Gut.
Okay.
Gut. So. Sei mir
Ja.
mal Familie.
Ja.
Ich bin gewinn ein bisschen umgetum, weil ich habe gedacht lernen und euch helfen und es ist gewinn. Gut. Das ist gewöhnlich Carries Arbeit, aber ja, war dabei im Dentist. Wir kennen ihm der Gläuben, als Hafsoka zu gehen zum Dentist. Gut, sehr schön. Good, Lily. Just because of timing, what about if we pick up where you were last time next class and we hear? Yeah, good. Okay, good. And
Yeah, I'll have my talk next week. So
okay, good.
nichts Problem.
Good. We'll hear briefly from Lily, and then I want to jump into the grammar for today. Yeah, so we have a little time to go over something.
Oh, you want to hear Lily's stories, but not mine?
Nein, Lily wird nur sagen ein paar
Meine
Wörter. Ja,
ist kurz.
Ja,
Kurz ist
gut.
kurz.
Was macht?
Danke, alles ist bei Beordnung. Wir haben gehabt Xaverim von Chicago vor 3, 4 Tage und alles ist okay. Wir will sein in Florida noch 3 Wochen.
Gut. Sehr
Okay.
schön. Gut,
So.
sehr fein.
Jetzt du can gehen to Grammatik.
Gut, sehr schön. Gut, sehr fein. Noch eine Sache, was ich darf sagen. Wir kennen in Ordnung, sein in Ordnung. Ja, was heißt sein in Ordnung?
Will be in order, will be okay. Ja, beseder.
Yeah, good. Things are okay, things are fine. Yeah, things are in order. Und ich habe gedacht sagen, as not only to say there a word in Hebrew, it's also a word in Yiddish. So that means a perfect synonym for in Ordnung in Yiddish is beseder. Yeah. Beseder is in Ordnung. Yeah.
In order.
It's the same thing between the two. Yeah. So beseder in Ordnung. Good. Sehr schön. Okay. Wir sollen jetzt darüber zu unserer Thematik heint, was ist Konverben. Ja, wir werden reden wegen Konverben. I'm going to begin using the chat, but I may move us over to my whiteboard if need be. Good. We'll at least have time to do the overview I'd like, answer questions, and talk more about these verbs. And then some of the activities I had, we might have to put off for next time, but it'll be fine. So, good. Konverben. So you'll remember that for the past couple of weeks, of course, we've been talking about Präfixen. Ja, was sind die 6 Präfixen?
Was?
Was sind die 6 Präfixen?
Je, ba, and,
Ja,
der,
gut.
That's
was ist?
Se,
Se,
Gut.
das. Let's see.
Und
Far?
noch,
Far? Was gesagt?
Ja.
nee, wir haben ge, ba, ant, der, ze und?
Far?
Ja, far, gut. Ich habe nicht gehört. Gut, Gita, du hast
Oh,
gesagt.
far.
Sehr schön. Ja, gut, far, gut, sehr schön. Okay, gut. So wir haben unsere 6 Präfixen. Yeah, and you remember that prefixes are called prefixes because they do not detach from their verb, right? They become inherent components of the verb itself and change its meaning. Now, we have another type of prefix, which in Yiddish are actually not even referred to as prefixes. They're referred to as Konverben. Konverben. Again, der Konverb translates to English as a separable prefix. A separable prefix. So these are the prefixes we add to verbs, which, when we conjugate the verb, get popped off and put after the conjugated verb. And we're going to talk about what these look like, how to use them. So just to start with a very kind of simple example that some people might already be familiar with. Onheben. Onheben. Was heißt onheben?
begin.
to start,
To start, good. To start, to begin.
Begin.
To start, begin. Good. But let's pull it apart a little bit. What does haben mean? Haben.
To have? No.
Nein, das ist haben. Ja, gut. Guter Gedanke, aber das ist haben.
This
Ja,
is-
haben.
Haven.
Das ist
Haven.
ob etwas haben.
Start.
past tense,
Happens.
Nein, if something, ob etwas hebt sich, what is it doing?
it starts.
Lifts up.
Gut, Gittel, it's rising.
Right. Heaps up.
To rise, to lift, go up. That's all haben. Haben. That's haben. Yeah. Onheben, however, has the addition of this converb on. Yeah. On. And with the addition of the converb on, and it needs also to be mentioned that these converbs, many of them do have meanings by themselves, but plenty of them don't. Right? So the most important thing to remember with converben is that you need to learn them together most of the time with their component verb. Because by themselves, they might not have the most coherent meanings all the time. On is an example of that. On can mean a variety of things when it's connected to a variety of verbs. In this case, when haben gets on in front of it, it begins to mean to start, to begin. And it's conjugated like so. Ich heb on. Du hebst on. Hebt on. Und so weiter. So this converb, this initial prefix in the infinitive form is attached to the verb. So again, the infinitive form is onheben. Onheben. The second it gets conjugated, however, this converb pops off and goes directly following the conjugated form, right? Like ich heb on, du hebst on, hebt on, und so weiter. Yep. And this is the general form of converben in the present tense. So anytime a converb exists, it pops off and goes and follows the conjugated verb. Now, the kind of easy way to recognize a converb is that it is not a prefix. Yeah. So if you see something affixed to a verb that is not one of the 6 prefixes we saw, there is a very, very good chance. In fact, I think it's the only other option that it is a converb. So that's actually part of the reason we started with prefixes. Because as soon as you can identify the 6 prefixes, you can also identify any converb because you can recognize it by sight. For example, we can try something like this. Trinken, prefix oder converb?
Prefix.
I'm going to say prefix.
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 Ganz poschet. Far is a prefix.
Trinken.
Trinken. What about Eyshe trinken? Eyshe trinken. Prefix oder converb?
Convert.
Converb.
Verb.
Es darf sein.
Drink ice.
Yeah, trinkois. It's not one of the 6 prefixes, it has to be a converb. Yeah, it works like this. You could say something like balernen. Prefix oder converb?
Lernen.
Prefix.
Prefix.
Bar.
This is ba.
Bar.
Eyshe lernen. Prefix oder converb?
Convert.
Converb.
Converb.
Lernen.
It's simple. It really is it's a simple sort of equation like that. If you can't recognize a prefix, but you know that there's something in front of the verb, it's a converb. Possible converbs are things like ois, arois, avec,
Okay. Okay.
on, op, iber, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. There are far, far, far more converbs in Yiddish than there are prefixes. So the easiest way to recognize a converb, because you can't necessarily memorize every single converb in the Yiddish language, because there's dozens and dozens of them, is it's a converb if it's not a prefix. It's kind of the litmus test you could use to figure it out. But today, what we're going to do is focus on the structure and beginning to learn more of the meanings of some of the converbs you might come across. So we're going to start with a verb like gain. Gain.
Gain.
To go.
To go.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So the nice thing about some converbs is that many of them convey a sort of direction or nuance to the original verb. And gain is one of these examples. We can add converbs to gain to give it additional information about what sort of going or walking we're doing. Right? So if I gave you a verb like avec gain.
Go away.
Get out of here. Go away.
Go away. Go away. Yeah.
Means to go away.
I've even heard that many times.
Yeah. It means to go away. Yeah. Avec gain. Now, if I wanted to
for whatever it's worth, when my father was in traffic losing patience because the guy in front of him wouldn't move the car, gay avec.
Yo, good. But let's look at the grammar of that real fast. So Yochanan, just because you spoke up, could you say for me, he goes away in Yiddish? He goes away.
Geht der Reis.
A Royce oder?
Avec. Geht avec.
Geht avec. Sehr schön. Yeah. Yochanan, could you also give me the imperative form? Maybe just the do imperative form of avec gain. So that means go away.
Gay avec.
Gay avec.
Okay.
You'll notice
there's 2 people, geht avec.
Good. Sehr schön, Yochanan. Geht weg. Good. So you'll notice that the phrase go away in Yiddish is not as simple as just combining the imperative gain with this kind of floating phrase avec. It's actually the imperative form of a singular verb that combines both words, avec gain. Avec gain, to go away. The same thing applies to many other converbs you can add to gain. For example, a rausgehen. Wie Yochanan hat schon gesagt. Was heißt a rausgehen?
To go out.
Go out.
To go out. Good. What about durchgehen?
To go through.
To go for a walk. No?
Sure.
Gain. Dur is generation. Gain.
Was heißt durch?
Generation.
To go through something.
Generation.
Good. Es heißt to go through something. Wie Gittel hat gesagt. To go through something. Ja. Genele.
Dur is a generation.
Dur is generation. durch means through, to go through
Oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah. So durchgehen means to go through something. Yeah. So I could say geht durch. Geht durch. He goes through something. Yeah.
But he's passing, isn't it also he's passing through?
Yeah.
Just-
It can mean that anytime you have this idea of throughness, durchgehen, you know, with the verb itself, the infinitive verb itself, durchgehen, is giving you the nuance that not only is someone walking or going, but they are going through some sort of thing, whether
Oh.
that's a town, whether that's a passageway, whether that's a tunnel, durchgehen.
Eyshe?
Mhm.
So do generation and go through is the same root?
Nein, they're unrelated. Door is a Hebrew word, and it's just their door,
Mhm.
and
Der
it's
door.
yeah, and it's unrelated. It's a Hebrew word. Durch is related to the English word through,
Oh,
which once upon a time used to be
through.
pronounced.
Yeah, because
Yeah, once upon a time used to be
through.
pronounced through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it now.
So
Yeah.
related. Okay, good. So durchgehen means to go through. We can even go other. What about übergehen? Übergehen.
Go over.
To go over. Good.
Mm.
To go over. For example, there's a very common phrase in kind of Jewish folklore, which is geht über die Häuser. Geht über die Häuser. Was heißt das? Geht über die Häuser.
Goes over Heiser.
To the
So
house,
is it above the houses? No.
of the house.
Nein. The Häuser. So Häuser is just the plural of Häus. Yeah.
Häuser.
So das Häus, die Häuser. Die Häuser.
Over the
So-
house.
Yeah, good. So it means he
Go
goes over the houses.
Go over houses.
What does that mean, though, as a phrase? If someone says geht über die Häuser, does that mean he's literally walking over homes, or maybe does it mean something else?
From home to home, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's going home to home. Geht über die Häuser is a phrase, especially in older Eastern European Jewish life, people would say about beggars. Yeah.
Beggars. Not the
Geht
peddlers.
geht über die Häuser.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's going from home to home, and of course it's a mitzvah to give some sort of charity to these, very poor people in these very small towns who needed food and shelter, and they would receive all of their food and shelter for the day by going from home to home asking for tzedakah. Yeah, so that would mean geht über die Häuser, but it comes from this verb übergehen. Yeah, so it's not geht plus a preposition. It's literally geht über object die Häuser. Yeah, he's going over the houses. Geht über die Häuser. And this idiom, this idea, maybe not an idiom, maybe more of like a proverb or something. This idea of going over houses is what gave rise to the idea, or connected to the idea of der Luftmensch. If you guys have ever heard of
Fluff.
Ja, Luftmensch is naar. Had zijn keppie in
Nein, good. So oib emetzer is in der Luft. That it means that. If they're in the air, that means that they're kind of nutty or foolish.
yeah.
And Luftmensch refers to, it's a very important sort of image for Eastern European Jewish life. It refers to the precarity and the poverty of Jewish sort of Jewish life, really, generally in Eastern Europe. So a kind of good example of that you might have seen before. This was a very important motif for someone like Marc Chagall.
Oh yeah, everything
Yeah.
is flying.
Yo, if you've ever wondered why is the
Yeah.
person flying in the air, is a Luftmensch. Geht über die Häuser. Which was turned, geht über die Häuser. It was turned from a sort of set phrase about a sort of very impoverished lifestyle, and then mythologized or romanticized.
But why he drew himself and his wife flying over?
The
There
figure,
is a very famous
here.
photo. Yeah,
the figure of
they're
the
very famous. Yeah, well,
the
not
figure
this
of-
one, but it's I know.
the figure of the Luftmensch becomes very, very common and widespread in kind of Eastern European Jewish
Mhm.
folklore and art. And its relationship can be traced to this phrase, geht über die Häuser. So these a lot of these converbs add specific nuances that then become important for folklore or art or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I have a question. What's Luftgeschäft?
Luftgeschäft.
You know, Luftgeschäft also comes from
Yeah.
Luft is air. It means Luftgeschäft. That it's really not a business. It's just
Exactly.
government.
Es ist ein Geschäft, wo es ist so stark wie die Luft. Yeah. It's a business in the air, right? It's not corporeal. It's not physical. It's a Luftgeschäft. Es ist nicht beemes. Ja, es ist nicht beemestige Sache. Good. Yeah. So all of this being said, and you could say, for example, hintergehen, a hingehen, a hergehen. You could continue and continue. So kind of driving home the point that oftentimes converbs can be used to add nuances and just slight differences to the meaning of a verb, right? So to go under, to go over, to go around, a rumgehen, to go around. Yeah, to go around something. Gate the room, right? But this is only the first sort of level.
Oh, gate a room is to go around.
Yeah, to go around and wander. This is only the first sort of level of converbs, however. Yeah. So at a very superficial level, converbs can be used in a lot of different verbs just to add specific direction or modalities to the verb itself. Yeah. Another example is something like kommen. Onkommen. Kommt on. Was heißt das? Kommt on.
Arrives.
Arrive.
He arrives. He
Arrive.
arrives.
You're right.
Kommt on. That's how to say he arrives. Kommt on. You could also say zurückkommen. Kommt zurück. Was heißt das?
Comes back.
Comes back. Or he returns. Good.
He
Kommt
returns.
zurück. Kommt zurück. You could also say, for
So-
example, rauskommen. Kommt raus. Was tut der?
Kommt raus. Go out.
Yeah, to come out of a store or whatever, a building.
Kommt
Kommt raus. Or if if a mouse is in his hiding spot or something, a Moys kommt raus. It's or something like that effect. It's coming out from something. Kommt raus.
Is though a Yiddish word wegen a Hasidische Rebbe, geht in Wasser und kommt raus nass.
Yeah.
Wie ein Nest,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Sehr schön. Yeah. Is a Beispiel. So this is what's so important about converb. You might be thinking to yourself, okay, I kind of get it. They're kind of mixing prepositions together and adding them to the verbs and creating new meanings. Yeah. But the reality is that this is only kind of level 1 of how converbs work. And I will say that the vast majority of the complexity and of the layeredness and double meanings and puns and literature, whatever it may be in Yiddish, comes out of converben, and the value and depth that they add to the language. It's such an important part of Yiddish. It is 100% worth the effort to learn and become comfortable with and to add to your language, because it takes you from being a speaker of Yiddish to feeling like you really can command the language. That's really the difference between a beginner in Yiddish and someone who's gotten to a more advanced level, is that they feel confident with these converben. So that being said, I want to give some more examples of more complex ideas that can be shared with converben. So we've gotten this picture of, roisgehen, hingehen, roiskommen, was so design that adds just a little bit of nuance to a verb. But what happens when converbs change the meaning of a verb entirely? So here are some examples. If we're using gain again, we learned that a roisgehen is what? A roisgehen?
Go out.
Go out. Now, what about oisgehen? Oisgehen. Was heißt oisgehen? And it's a base?
I'm guessing to spend. No.
Name, it's haste to pass away. Yeah,
Oisgehen.
pass away.
To die? It means
Die.
to
Yeah, it means to,
Oisgehen?
yeah,
Gestorben?
Yeah,
yeah, to die.
das
Just
meant
to die.
gestorben.
Oisgehen.
So this is kind of an extreme example where just the difference between Roisgehen and Oisgehen very much changes the modality of the verb. Yeah. So geht Rois is a very different sentence from geht Ois.
Okay.
Now, is
Heard that. Okay. Ois.
For example, geht Ois auf jener Welt. Yeah, you might have heard he's passed
to the other world, yeah.
Yep.
Excuse the English, but does Oisgehen have the same kind of sort of gentle euphemistic quality that
does.
pass away does in English?
Does. Yeah, it does.
So
That's
everybody
why-
in my family was crude because somebody was gestorben. You know?
Yeah, no, gestorben's fine. Yeah, gestorben just means they died, right? So
Yeah.
ist gestorben, whatever.
And that-
Other
Geht
question.
Ois is sort of, yeah, it is sort of a kind of empathetic way of saying they passed away. Yo, Lily.
I have a question. Geht Ois, to me, means he's not dead yet, but he is going to die.
Ois.
Yeah, it can have that nuance, right? So it can mean that
He's
yeah,
Geht
so
Ois, he's diminishing the.
He's
Yeah, so-
dying.
that has to do with how you understand the present tense in Yiddish. So the present tense in Yiddish corresponds in English to both a completed action and the continuous action, right? So if I say lernt, that means he teaches and also he is teaching, right? So geht Ois is both he's passing away, so he's in the process of passing away, and also he's passed away, right? So he is
Geht Ois.
geht Ois.
I was thinking it sounds like I think that he stops breathing at gate Ois.
Yeah, yeah.
Stops. His breath stops or gate. He doesn't have. That's now I'm thinking. I remember that word now.
Yeah, it's
like
the reason it's oisgehen, literally to go out, right, is because he's diminishing, right? Someone's diminishing, right? In whatever kind of capacity you understand that.
It's probably more gentle than that. It's the idea that the Shoma has departed.
Yeah, it right. There's a lot of, I mean, this is where literature comes from, right? This is where poetry comes from. We're picking apart this word, but this is, you see what I mean? It is really in Konverben that Yiddish poets and writers and lyricists and whoever have been able to create such, not principally, but a large part because of these Konverben. This is where so much of the richness of Yiddish lives. It's in these Konverben. Lily.
But to die, you can say starbt means he's not dead yet, but he's in, to me, starbt, he's dying.
Yeah, correct. Starbt versus he is already dead, ist gestorben.
Gestorben.
I can tell you if someone says geht Ois, they mean that someone is either dead or about to die. They are not long for this world in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you say is Ois gegangen, that sounds kind of
That's it. That's a final.
Yeah, it sounds very final and it can sound very intense, right? Like if you hear that someone is Ois gegangen, it can sound kind of, so people say geht, right? Ois. It's kind of a gentle way of talking about this. So ist gestorben, of course, is the past tense, but we can talk about more examples, and I want to make sure we get to these before we end today. So I guess what I'm getting at is, as we work more on converbs, remember that there is purposely in the language, there's a lot of nuance and a lot of difference and shades of meaning within these converbs, and that's why they exist. They give a level of detail and they give a little level of intrigue and specificity to language that otherwise is difficult to come across. This is how Yiddish does it. Other languages have other ways of doing it. Yiddish likes to put it in its converbs, and once upon a time, English did have verbs like this. This isn't kind of a strange thing. We just have kind of gotten used to them. A good example are things like to make. In Yiddish now, we have to make up, to make out, to make do. We add these very tiny particles, right? At the end of our verbs that once upon a time used to be in front of our verbs, but that was in Old English, and now we're modern English speakers, so we put them at the end. And they drastically change the meaning of a verb, right? So to make is a very different verb from to make up, which is a very different verb from to make out, which is a very different verb from to make do, right? And to an English speaker, it feels simple, right? To make up has almost no relationship to make, right? It's, at least in most kind of speakers' heads, right? It's the same verb, but it's two totally different ideas, right? Completely different. The same goes for Yiddish speakers. Yeah. So these Konverben, although they're affixed to the same verb, can create incredibly divergent meanings. And incredibly different kind of shades and degrees of meaning. But they can also convey a sort of nuance to an original meaning. For example, in Yiddish, to go forth used to be a converb once upon a time in Old English, right? To go forward. It used to come from Old English like forth go. Yeah. So we have these shades of meaning in English too. We have them in Yiddish, of course. And the point is, don't always assume that the meaning is readily accessible just because you know the converb. And also take time and effort when you encounter converbs to really try to internalize them and think about what they do, what they're adding to your Yiddish. And then, of course, the last step of this, and we're going to continue working on this throughout the next couple of weeks, because I think this is such an important part of Yiddish, is to start using them in your language. To incorporate them on how you talk and how you speak. Good. With that, I can let you all go.